Okay, hi everyone. So I usually do movie reviews and like video game videos and a few different things, but today I want to talk about a viral video in the United States and the reaction to it. It involved some MAGA kids. MAGA is in Make America Great Again. It happened at Covington something, I think it's a Catholic school. I probably should do a bit more research. But basically, I understand the situation reasonably well, and I got to get some things off my chest. There was a short viral video, and it basically showed a Native American or Native Indian beating a drum, and a bunch of white kids, I don't know that it's that relevant, boys pretty much exclusively, and they were wearing their red MAGA hats, Make America Great Again. And they were sort of jumping and cheering and... Anyway, it was presented as racism and, anyway, when I saw the headline at first, I just want to explain, I was immediately like, oh, that's bad. But, people were implying it related to Trump, and I was like, this has nothing to do with Trump. Unless Trump has directly incited this kind of thing, and I'm not aware of him doing that, it doesn't reflect on him. It reflects on the kids, and we can all agree, okay, that's bad. Racism's bad, picking on someone walking, and a Native American who's older, that's terrible. But, so before I forget, Maxine Waters has incited violence, or at least harassment. In one case, she told people to go out, harass, Republicans, harass Donald Trump supporters. So,
and if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd.
But I thought, oh, I'll watch the video anyway. I just want to see. I wasn't that interested. But then I saw it and I was like, what am I looking at here? It's just the guy is drumming, the people are there. There's one boy kind of just has a smirk on his face. And there's no context. So that was the thing I was suspicious about. See, there's a fundamental thing that I do, which is I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Meaning, I never assume what their intentions are. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're trying to do. And especially in this case, I don't know what the context is. I don't know what the occasion is. I think maybe there was some kind of protest relating to abortion or, the two different sides. I guess the boys were on one side, some people on the other side. And maybe there was an indigenous day. I don't know. But we don't know how they ended up there. I was suspicious though, and I also thought there was no clear racism or anything. I didn't hear what people were claiming. And yeah, I may as well point out, how are you meant to react if someone's drumming? Because as it turns out, when I saw a longer video, which has now come out, and it shows, which I was not surprised at all. If I had to guess, this is what I would have guessed happened, and it did. The Native American approached them. The boys were already there in a group.
Here come Gad! Look at our Make America Great Again hats. Look at the hats. Look at the hats.
By the way, I don't care if you're old, I don't care if you're Native American, you don't get like a special, you're a human being, other people are human beings, they're all just people. I really am colorblind, I just see them as people. He walked up, it's obnoxious to just keep drumming, he didn't try to talk to them. There was another Native American with him who was, I don't know exactly who said what, but I think he was like being quite antagonistic, saying mean things. Someone made a comment about go back to Europe.
For you white people, go back to Europe where you came from. This is not your land.
And it's like, okay, so there have been injustices in the past against Native Americans, but does that justify, are we gonna forever, is humanity always gonna just blame people alive today for what people that looked the same 100 years ago, 200 years ago, whatever, did? Is this going to go forever? It's ironic that it's like Martin Luther King Day or something recently, and his whole message was, I haven't heard the full speech, but I dream of a day when people will be judged not by the color of the skin, but the content of their character. Something like that. I'd even go maybe further, because content of character is tricky, but behavior, actions, what you do, responsibility, that's something the political right tends to be very consistent on. You're responsible for your behavior. It's equal standards for everyone. You don't get a free pass, you don't get... So yeah, I'm not a fan of the Native American. He just walked up, just drumming, no explanation. He didn't try to start a conversation, and when the other people were being rude, he didn't stop and say, hey, don't do that, I'm just, no, he was just standing there. And then he lied. He said he's a veteran. I'm pretty sure that's false. right? Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mind, but that's pathetic. You don't lie about that. You don't lie in general, but calling yourself a veteran, and that's an insult to people who are actual veterans, who I think do deserve respect regardless of your opinion on a given war. It's a major thing to do. It's not easy, risking your life in theory to protect your country. And he also seems to have lied about the situation. I think he said something in an interview that they surrounded him, or that they were the footage shows him walking up to them, and I think maybe he wanted the antagonism. And I also think, it may be controversial to say, but I think he knows, and some of these other people know, that there's no consequences. You've got a force field because you're an older Native American, you're untouchable. No one wants to, because you're instantly racist. He doesn't have to be a mature human being and decent like other people and tell the truth, and, he can just walk up to people and obnoxious behavior. And then what are you meant to do? This white kid in particular was just standing there and just kind of smirked, and it's an awkward situation. You sense it's awkward. This white kid, by the way, there's footage. Again, I feel stupid saying white. It has nothing to do with it. But there were some other kids, like there were some disagreements, and there's a part where you can see him gesturing, like, no, like, cut it out. He was de-escalating, and he stood his ground, and that's seen as a bad thing. This is one of the big messages of this story. What should be a big message is that this Native American, and these other people, including, I forget to mention, like 4 or 5 black guys who, again, it doesn't really matter that they were black, but they were being really rude. They were using homophobic kind of slurs, calling people faggots, calling people crackers, and...
The drinks was a bunch of homosexuals. You're gonna see your president kiss Rudy Giuliani dressed in a drag on the lips. Your president is a homosexual. On the back of your dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust," but you give faggots rights. The Bible condemns homosexuality, man. They're still humans.
It's not just the words, but it's amazing how many people have excused this. I'll get to this later, but there's no reverse racism. There's no such thing as racism against whites. Like, what are you talking about? There was a famous case where 4 people, black people, 2 black guys and 2 black girls, kidnapped a white guy who was disabled and tortured him, and it put a video online. They kept saying F Trump, F white people, something like that.
An 18-year-old victim who was tied and gagged. The suspects put a knife to his throat at different points in this video. They make him drink from the toilet. This torture goes on for more than 30 minutes. Listen.
Donald Trump, white people, boy.
And it's disgusting. It doesn't reflect on all black people, but those people were racist, and they were racist against a white person or white people in general. That's racism, right? I'm not saying that's widespread. I don't think that many people are racist, but racism is racism, and you should call it out, especially when it's like explicit like that. And even more so is not so much the racism. You can have your opinions, you can, like, it's pathetic, but it's when you're violent. Like, if you hurt someone, or if you're like harassing people, if you're just being a complete jerk. And those black adults were being complete jerks, immature, inappropriate to kids, and no one in the media cares about that. That receives no attention.
I got one nigga in the crowd.
Whoa! That's racist.
Look at him. When you get old enough, they're gonna steal your organs.
Whoa! Hey, we love you, bro. Hey, we love you, kid. Hey, we love you.
Anyway, so one of the things you do see the kids doing is kind of chanting, or like, it's hard to figure out what's going on because it's like a mobile phone camera or something. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of people, a lot of noise, but they're kind of jumping, chanting, but they're in time with the drum. And if anything, first off, they were making noise before the drum approached. Then he approaches, there's other antagonistic things, and the Native American didn't have a finger laid on him. Can you imagine if a person, for example, like a white male, like myself, with a red MAGA hat, no, I mean, I'm Australia, but in America or something, and it goes into like the women's march, and just like beats a drum or something, maybe escort, or just waves an American flag. How long do you think they'd last? They'd come out, it'd be like a cartoon, just a cloud of smoke, and they'd come out like 10 seconds later with like bruises and scars, and the flag's torn, and their hats like, been taken, they don't even know where it is. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, the kids were like jumping and dancing and like, imagine if it was like a rock star, like a drummer who they actually liked. What would you do? What do people do at concerts? When people jump and get into the music, are they mocking the musicians? What are you meant to do? It's just projection. And this is what I want to get to. The left, they really do this. There's all this they think there's this subconscious bias. They think all these whites are racist and they don't even know it. And they're looking for it anywhere. You sense this anger. And I'm not just putting this out of nowhere. You look at the tweets, look at the way these celebrities and intellectuals like Sean King and Kathy Griffin, appalling. They're adults, they're attacking kids, and they use the language they use. They mention things like white. They're white kids, they're white males, they're Trump supporters, they're deplorables. You can just see the white patriarchy on their face, the white smirk. Oh, I hate that white smirk. I just want to punch it out of them. They have punchable faces. You know, there was a lady from SNL that gave, I want to use a euphemism, an illicit offer, I guess, in exchange for someone that punches it. Some of this might have been joking. I don't find it funny. I mean, I'm laughing at how not funny it is. But a lot of it seemed pretty serious. And the doxing, these kids have now received death threats. Their families have received death threats. I hope these celebrities get sued. Anyway, there's another point. Some people, okay, finally, some of the news, like once the longer videos came out, and it's very clear, and even the people that lean left but that are kind of reasonable they've apologized, they're taking the tweets. It's pretty embarrassing. Some are doubling down or quadrupling down, as some people have said. That's ridiculous. But what annoys me is that some of these people, they apologize, and then others are saying, oh, that's good. Like, there's different levels. Like, for example, if someone quits smoking or quits alcohol and they say, oh, I'm 6 months sober, and everyone applauds that. Like, yeah, okay, that's good. But, like, I never started drinking. I've never had problems with alcohol. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but like, when do the people that not have problems in the first place get credit for that? Instead of applauding the people who apologize or retract or delete, how about the news sources and the human beings, the people that didn't jump to conclusions? Where's their credit? They're the ones that need credit. The media that, didn't get involved or didn't make assumptions, they are the only people that deserve any ounce of respectability or credibility now. If you jumped on them, I don't care if you apologize. You need to do more than apologize. You need to support them. Send money. If you tried to dox them, you should be facing serious consequences. I mean, like thousands of dollars. Support them because they're going to get attacked. The other thing is admit why you did this. Here's my analogy. Let's say it was black girls who were Hillary supporters, right? And let's say they were surrounding, again, it wouldn't really matter. Like, it could be a Native American beating a drum, but let's say it was a Native American who had a MAGA hat on and supported Trump, right? Because there are some out there, and then they were laughing and, would there be the same attention? Would there be the same anger? No. And like I said, in the tweets you can see they mention the whiteness, they mention the MAGA hats, they mention it's males, it's patriarchy. These people hate white people, they're racist, they are sexist. They need to admit that. They need to look in a mirror. It's not acceptable. I feel like I'm the only person pointing this out. It's like it's taboo to say, oh, you're being racist against white people. People like laugh at that. Racism's racism, and if you are making assumptions and you're biased to that degree to the point that's going to hurt individuals, that's all I care about. Individuals. These kids are individuals. I don't know that they're perfect. I might disagree with them, but they stood their ground. They just stood there as this guy just beats the drum. It wasn't even. I didn't think anything major was going on. And again, like I said, this guy didn't get touched. He wasn't even in any physical danger, it seemed. And yet, with the left, it's the opposite. There's so many cases of violence. There's a very famous, hasn't received that much attention in the media, but it's an old guy, Trump supporter. He's got, sort of controversial signs that are generally right-leaning, but no swearing or anything, just his point of view. And there's these young teenagers jumping around and, and then they physically try to whack out his signs. No attention. And again, he was standing there. They got in his personal space. In this case, some Native American approaches them. There's black guys, spitting rude things. Another Native American, I think, also being very rude. And the kids are just sort of stand their ground and they don't lash back. They should be applauded and they deserve more attention. And they're kids and they've been attacked. And I don't care there's no excuse if you jumped on the bandwagon. You need to look in a mirror. Stop judging people by race. Stop jumping to conclusions. There's no excuse. Grow up and don't just apologize. Send your money. Support them. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't have time to completely debunk the whole you know, all the white patriarchy rubbish that's out there. Anyway, okay, bye.